fans, Scott from SE Landscaping up in the sunny northeast. I believe we're getting a heat wave this week and it's probably going to be the last one of the year because we're going into September, so probably not much good weather left. But what I want to talk about today is the last few videos that I've produced are obviously explaining my plans for the future and stuff. Been doing a bit of experimenting. Last week I went out on my own a couple of days just to see where I'm at with what we usually do when two of us go to jobs, and just to do a little bit of work myself. So basically it was just an experiment to see how I got on without anybody. And yes, I still had teams out, so there was still stress there because there's always going to be issues with other people, but it was just a matter of how I got on my own, and I quite enjoyed it. Same again this week. I was out yesterday on my own. I'm out today on my own doing some strimming public rights of way, some hedge cutting, some weed spraying and a bit of grass cutting. And I've sent the lads off again, same again, to do the jobs. I'm going to be doing my stuff, and it's just a bit of an experiment to see how I get on, and the times as well, because a lot of these jobs we're going to today, we usually go with two men, and yes, by having another man it makes your job easier, but by doing regular maintenance, what we do, where nothing's ever really bad, it means that they're not big old jobs. And if I do get big old jobs in where you may be only pruning once a year or something, yes, I can get someone in to assist with those jobs. But the bulk of the jobs that we do, where it's regular work and regular grass cutting and stuff, then I don't really see that I cannot do these on my own. So that's the plan. Next few weeks, just to see how it goes. I've also got a subcontractor back in this week doing me some work, Steve. He started a few weeks ago, and it's the same again. When you've got a man's wage, I send a van out which I'm paying costs on, then I send a man out which I'm paying his wage, then I'm paying fuel and everything, and I'm paying his lunch. So the difference is, with a subcontractor, he comes with his own gear, apart from the other day where he had an issue with a van, which I lent him a van. His was in for an MOT and it took a bit longer, so I lent him one of my vans. But apart from that, he comes with his own equipment, he puts his own fuel in the machines. If something breaks, he's got to take his time to go and get that repaired, and it's not my time. And I pay him a wage, I pay him a day rate or an hourly rate, which is more than I pay my employees. But when you work out the costs, what he's costing me, and when I costed up everything that the employee cost me down to PPE and everything like that, it's not far away. So basically anybody employing a subcontractor, providing they don't come and want £40 an hour, that is, and they're working on the standard rates in your area, which in the northeast it's sort of £20-25 an hour, then basically you can pretty much it pretty much pays for itself. So, and that's the difference with it. So it's more cost effective really as well. That's the thing, that's what I'm trying to say. So it is working. It's early days, obviously everything works in the early days, employees work in the early days and everything like that, but we need to find out if it works long term, and that's why starting it early in sort of August, it meant that we've got August, September, October. I said I'd sort of keep them going for 3 months to see how things progress with the works. And I've got a few jobs that I priced up a few weeks ago that I knew we couldn't do anyway because we're pushed, so he's going to be dropping on them, and a couple of new sites he's going to be dropping on. So we'll see how things go, and hopefully I'll be less stressed next year. But another thing I want to touch on is family. And basically, in the early days, it was a necessity for my business to put my business before my family, which is wrong, but we wouldn't have had any money if I didn't do that. But I got in a bit of a rut, and for the past 5-6 years I probably haven't needed to do it and I've still done it. So we've sacrificed holidays and I've worked weekends and things when I shouldn't have been, and I've worked nights and more than I should, and you just get in a rut and it becomes an addiction that you need to ask yourself, do I need to do it? And that was the problem. I just kept doing it, and like I say, the money was coming in. I didn't need to do it anymore, but I was still doing it. So we had a discussion, my wife, a few weeks ago, and yes, there's been an issue with the amount of work I do, and that's another thing with scaling back, because I don't need as much money now. I'm sort of planning for the future and things like that, and I've got I'm putting lump sums into pensions and things, so it's not, there's no sort of worry there really now than there was 10 years ago, where you were living hand to mouth and you were living on a couple £100 a week and things like that, and having to work sort of 80-90 hours a week to get the money in and build the business. But like I say, I've dragged it on too long, and I've gone sort of way over. So we've discussed it, and this is part of my plan for the next few years. 1, to relieve the stress. 2, to not work as much. Yes, I love my job, and I would be quite happy if it wasn't affecting other parts of my life to keep working as much, but I do realise that I do need to scale it back a bit. I can still love my job, only doing sort of 40-50 hours a week, and looking after clients like I do. So that's the plan going forward as well. The reduction in hours, which I'm looking at the moment at the jobs that I've got, and some of them will be going. There's a couple of jobs that I'm torn between. They will be going to tender next year, and usually it's basically me just putting a price in, and I've actually won these jobs previous with not being the cheapest, because the clients are over the moon with what we do. But unfortunately next year I'm going to ramp the prices up, and the reason I'm doing that is because I'm not bothered if I get them, because of the scaling back. But if I do get the jobs, what will happen is it frees up a lot more cash to get a sort of a subcontractor to do the jobs, if I decide to go down that route. So we'll see how that goes with the tendering. And then there's a few jobs that I'm going to explain to a few customers that I'm not going to be doing next year due to scaling back, and I'm going to give them some good notice. I'm going to actually send a letter out October saying, look, I'm going to service your sites till the 31st of March, but come next year, unfortunately, due to the business and scaling the business down, I will unfortunately I won't be able to look at your sites. But I'm hoping that I'll be able to pass these sites on to possibly my subby as his own work, and people straight away say, well, if you subcontract to you, why don't you keep it all on? I don't want as much of the hassle, so that's the reason. So some of the jobs are going, and that's pretty much it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sort of document the next few months of how the changes are going, and it'll give other people an insight into how business runs and how you can grow a business, and also how you can shrink your business. I'll still bring videos on the other stuff, so the machinery and stuff that we demo on any new machines that come, and same with videos of hedge cutting and other stuff at the times of year when we're doing stuff. But I just thought if these videos were up as a guide of somebody who's grown a business from nothing, and also sort of shrunk a business down as well to a smaller size, it just gives people an insight into the ups and downs and things. I mean, on my videos, I think I cover, or I will be covering, anything that I haven't covered. I think I cover everything that's actually relevant to gardening businesses and setting them up and keeping them going. So hopefully they're helping people. Well, I know they're helping people because I get some good feedback and I have some good conversations with people as well. So that's another week down, and just to say that as I mentioned in the past with staff, it is I'm just counting the weeks down till the end of the season at the moment, because it's just getting stressful and stressful by the day. Another thing that happened this week is this here. And basically, for years and years, I've used a pair of scaffolding boards with some fabricated steel to clip on the side of the transit, and it's worked fine for years and years. But when one of the guys came to work for me, he wasn't happy with these scaffold boards. He said, oh, the more slips and everything. So I invested in a proper pair of ramps on the side of the van. They've got treads on and everything. As you can see, they laid on the floor in that picture actually. And what should happen? I get a message, I have tipped them all off the van. How? You know what I mean? It's you set the ramps up, they're clipped on the side, you're either going too fast or you're not paying attention. And this is just a number of things. Like I say, I've had a transit van, I've had this machine for 10 years. Or I've had one of these machines for 10 years. Never ever ever happened, but here goes. So, and this is why I get so stressed, because it's one thing every week. There's something different, and there's some problem that I've never had in all my years, but they just it just does it. It amazes you. So, and these are just reasons that keep adding on to my list of why I'm going down the route I have on videos. So I've finished for the week now. It's Friday. I've just had a good talk with Simon, another landscape. He runs Green Gardeners down country, and he's the same again. He's had a lot of issues, and we've been in contact via email, just chatting about issues I've had and issues he's had. And it is, everybody you speak to has the same problems and the same issues, and it's frightening really. Just employees are just, until I think they've ran their own business, they just haven't got a clue, and they just don't understand what it's all about. Basically, they think everything's just easy, and you should pretty much cater for them and work around them and give them time off whenever they want and let them work whatever hours they want. And it's the same again with the going home. A lot of the time, if they get back at 4:45, they're straight out the door. But if I ask them to work back till 4:05, oh heck no, that doesn't happen. So there's no give and take with anything.